Hello and welcome. This is going to be your crystal scrying forecast for the week of November 4th through November 11th. So that encompasses quite a bit. If you are interested in such things, the Metropolitan Opera is going to be having a free streaming of the opera Salome on November 10th, and I'll put a link down in the description if you're interested. So let's go ahead and start the cleansing. God, this candle smokes so much. What is that about? And this is sage incense. Just feel the pure white light. White light, white light. Feel that pure white light wash over your body. Any of those things clinging to the surface of your skin, just let them be carried and burned away by the smoke and by the purifying white light, white light, 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 light. Keep in mind also that I'm giving you my breath a little bit when I do that. I also want you to collect all of your negative thoughts, all your negative energies and vibrations that have been clustered around you the month, the year, maybe even the decade. I want you to collect all of that you've been holding on to, and anything that you don't want to carry with you moving forward. Just release that energy into this flame. Yeah, this candle smokes so much. It could be just all of that negative vibrations and energy that you don't want to be bringing with you as well, though. Just release it. Just let it be burned up in the pure white light and in this flame, representing the divine flame, divine spirit. Just let it go. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Beautiful. Then we can talk about the ephemera for this week. Now, because I am filming this on the day before Election Day, I will not have those results, but that's probably just fine. The week starts on Wednesday the 4th, so the moon is going to be in Gemini on that day and will enter Cancer at 1:45 or 4:45 in the afternoon. The moon in Gemini will also be going through a quincunx series of transits with that Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, Capricorn series that we've been talking about quite a bit. And there's also a trine between the moon in Gemini and Mercury in Libra, which Mercury has just gone direct as of Tuesday. So then the next day, the moon will be in Cancer, and there are some squares with Mars in Aries and Chiron in Aries, and then also a square with Venus in Libra, and then a trine with the Sun in Scorpio, and a sextile with Uranus in Taurus. And I'm just going to kind of go over these in a broad sense right now, and then I'm going to get into them in more detail as I go through each sign. So then on Friday the 6th, the moon will be entering Leo, but that's not going to happen until either it'll happen very late on Friday or very early on Saturday, depending on what coast you're on. And then we also have this Mercury in Libra is going to square Saturn in Capricorn. We have a series of oppositions between the moon in Cancer and then, of course, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn. We have a trine with Neptune in Pisces, and then a square also between the moon in Cancer and Mercury in Libra. And that square is going to occur when the moon is void of course. So Mercury in Libra and Venus in Libra have both made placements with that moon in Cancer on Thursday and Friday. So then Saturday, the moon is going to be in Leo, and there will also be a quincunx between the sun in Scorpio and Mars in Aries. That moon in Leo is going to have a trine with Chiron in Aries and a square with Uranus in Taurus. On Sunday, we have quincunx between the moon in Leo and Neptune in Pisces, and also that Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, Capricorn configuration. And then a square with the sun in Scorpio and a trine with Mars in Aries. So Chiron in Aries and Mars in Aries both making a trine to the moon in Leo on Saturday and Sunday. And then a sextile with Venus in Libra. It's a very romantic energy. It is mentioned here, Sunday is going to be the fourth quarter of the moon. After the moon squares the sun today, that's going to occur around either 5:45 or 8:45 in the morning, depending on if you are on either one of the United States coasts. And that's going to last until the moon goes void of course on Monday, and that is around 3 or 6 in the morning, depending. So that's going to be an opportune period, a very good time for closing a deal or socializing and having more fun. What else do we have? So Monday, we are going to get a sextile between the moon in Leo and Mercury in Libra. And that's going to be when it's void, of course. So we've already talked about that's going to be super early in the morning. And then around 5:30 or 8:30, the moon is going to enter Virgo. And we also have a opposition between Venus in Libra and the moon in, I beg your pardon, between Venus in Libra and Mars in Aries. Sorry about that. And then there will be a quincunx between the moon in Virgo and Chiron in Aries. And then a trine between moon in Virgo and Uranus in Taurus, and then another trine between the sun in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. So we're getting a little more interesting. The next day, Tuesday, Venus in Libra. It's going to start that trine series with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, but that will finish up on Wednesday, and that'll finish up when the moon is void of course. There will be a quincunx then, because we had that quincunx with Chiron in Aries on Monday, then the quincunx between the moon in Virgo and Mars in Aries is going to happen on Tuesday. We have an opposition between moon in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces. That'll be a really interesting energy, and that's going to happen either around 12:45 or 3:45 in the afternoon, depending on your coast. And then we have a sextile between the moon in Virgo and the sun in Scorpio. And then Mercury is finally going to go back into Scorpio on Tuesday. And that's going to happen around 2 p.m. or 5 p.m. if you are on one of the United States coasts. Finally, Wednesday, we have the moon entering Libra but that's not going to occur until 8 or 11 in the morning. So that final placement with the moon in Virgo is going to be the tail end of that Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn in Capricorn series. We have a quincunx between Venus in Libra and Neptune in Pisces. There's an opposition between the moon in Libra and Chiron in Aries, and then a quincunx between the moon in Libra and Uranus in Taurus. And yeah, I guess we're not going to get a conjunction between Mercury and the moon in Libra because Mercury is entering Scorpio. That Thursday, the 12th, there will be a conjunction of the moon and Venus. And then the moon and Mercury conjunction will be on Friday, the 13th. It's also important to note that Mars is going direct in Aries on that day. Just to give you a little sneak peek of the future. And that is your placements for this week. This month, I am going to be using this Tektite, which is an impactite. Can either be a part of a comet or can be crystallized glass and minerals from an impact site. And with that, I'm going to be using Lodestone Oil, which is more of a drawing oil for money, but with the iron compounds in the Tektite, I thought it would be very fitting. Hello, Aries. Let's talk about your ephemera for the week ahead, the 4th through the 11th of November. We're almost 2021, can you believe it? So, the main things going on for you this week is that Mars and Chiron are in your sign, and this isn't this week, this is for next week. Mars is retrograde in your sign right now and will be going direct on Friday the 13th. So we have on Thursday the 5th, there's a square between the moon in Cancer and Chiron in Aries. Moon in Cancer is a very emotional, watery kind of an energy. And Chiron in Aries is all about healing those things about yourself that could be some of the less favorable traits of Aries, so impetuousness or impatience. And that's going to occur around 12:45 or 3:45 in the morning, depending on which coast, if you live in the United States. And then later around 8 or 11 p.m., again, depending if you live in the U.S., which coast you live on, then you're going to get the Mars in Aries square to the moon in Cancer. And Mars in Aries is very much about action and moving forward. So the way that this transit has been working so far is that Chiron in Aries will come first and then the Mars in Aries. So you get the healing begun, and then the Mars in Aries, you start to take action. So that's kind of how that progresses. Then on Saturday the 7th, you've got a quincunx between the Mars in Aries placement and Sun in Scorpio. So this is a very fast moving energy. Quincunx is usually like a quick turn of events coming through. That's going to be at 3:40 or 6:40 in the morning. And that sun in Scorpio could be about death, sex, or other people's resources, all of those things. So any number of possibilities there. You're also going to have a trine between Chiron in Aries and Moon in Leo. Now, the Moon in Leo is a very artistic, creative kind of an energy. So that is going to begin around 9:40 or 12:40 in the daytime, depending on, again, if you live on either of the United States coasts. And then that Mars in Aries trine will be occurring around 3:40 or 6:40 in the morning of Sunday the 8th. All right, so that's that transit. We have on the 9th, which is Monday, an opposition. This opposition is between Venus in Libra, so this is romantic partnerships, and Mars in Aries. Could be that there's something that you want out of a relationship and you're going to force the issue on it. That's going to occur around 8 in the morning or 11 in the morning. Now, we didn't get a Chiron placement with the Moon in Leo. We got let's see. Yeah, we got a trine between the Moon in Leo and Mars in Aries on Sunday, but, oh yeah, I guess we did. Okay. All right, so then the next is that the Moon is going to be in Virgo, and there's going to be a quincunx between Chiron in Aries and that Moon in Virgo. And then the quincunx between Mars in Aries and the Moon in Virgo is going to be on Tuesday morning. So what does this mean? Well, Moon in Virgo is a very, it's emotional or hidden things, and it can be related to your health or daily routines or any kind of organizational matters in your life. So if you've been moving too fast to pin down some of your organization, or if you need to pay attention to health issues or something like that, this quincunx placement, it's going to be around 3 p.m. or 6 p.m. On Monday the 9th. A health issue could crop up out of nowhere. You could be looking around and realize you're totally disorganized because you've been moving too fast. Any of those things. And then around 7:45 or 10:45 in the morning of Tuesday, you're going to see that Moon in Virgo, quincunx, Mars in Aries, and that's when you're going to take action on that matter. And then on Wednesday the 11th, so when the Moon moves into Libra, then it's going to be an opposition between Moon in Libra and Chiron in Aries. Moon in Libra is emotional things related to partnerships or hidden things related to partnerships. There could be some truths coming out for you at that time. So then, because that Mars in Aries placement is going to be on Thursday, we'll end up talking about that next week. And let's get started with the scrying, shall we? Again, this is a Tektite from China. And I'm going to use this Lodestone Oil, and I'm going to put some on the Tektite, but I'm also going to dot a little bit of it up here and rub it in. Alright, Aries, so what is making a mess for you this week is what I'm getting right off the bat. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Oh, something watery needing to come to your attention. So part of your house could flood if you have a basement that's prone to flooding, or you have pipes burst or something like that. There could be definitely something like that coming through for you. But another thing that flooding can represent, and we'll talk about this in the dream interpretation video as well, flooding can represent being overwhelmed by things in your life. So it could be something like that as well. I'm really getting like a lot of watery images of like deluge and parts of the house flooding. But, you know, like I said, that could be something physical happening, or it could be related to your organization or your emotional life. Yeah, spirit work. Something about spirit work. So for some of you, Aries, sun, moon, and rising, because Chiron is in your sign right now, or not because, but kind of symptomatic of Chiron being in your sign, you have been doing a lot of work on yourself. And so part of that is getting in touch with any spirit guides that you might have. And it might be that because you have chosen to take the plunge, and again, there's so much water imagery for you this week, Aries, which is very antithetical to your fire sign placement. So I hope that everything is okay. But you have this communication with spirit guides, right? Often when it happens that we decide that we are going to better ourselves and we start working towards that, it opens kind of a can of worms, and so all of these things come up that you probably were not expecting, and that could be the deluge that I was talking about as well. What else is coming through for Aries this week, November 4th through November 11th? A lot of you waited too long to get on board with something in particular, and this could be related to the election, but it could also be related to, I feel like it's more about an interpersonal issue for a lot of you, that there's somebody that maybe had been talking to you about doing a project together, or hey, I'd really like to date you, or something like that, and you've waited too long to get on board with what they have going on, or maybe even an existing partner trying to convince you of a point of view that they hold, and it could be related to that as well. So if you have the opportunity to remedy that, is that something that Aries is going to be able to remedy? Some of you, yes, some of you, no. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. If you have a moon in Aries, which is emotional beginnings. I feel like there's a lot more flexibility there than with Sun or rising Aries, possibly, and that Moon in Aries placement, some of you may be able to salvage that situation. But again, it seems like it's pretty wrapped up in this overall sense that there's a deluge, there's a flood coming. And the problem is that with floods, if you're able to see the water rushing towards you, it's probably too late to avoid it. What else do I need to tell Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising about this week, November 4th through the 11th? Give yourself, I get this a lot for all signs, but give yourself plenty of breathing room if you have projects to accomplish. That's something I get all the time. Just give yourself plenty of room to accomplish the projects that you have set forth. And that is it for you for this week, Aries. Best of luck. Hello, Taurus, and thank you for joining me. So for you this week, mostly we're just talking about your Uranus in Taurus placement. And on Thursday, around 6:20 or 9:20 in the morning, there's going to be a sextile between Moon in Cancer and Uranus in Taurus. So, what does this mean? Well, that's a pretty good placement. This Moon in Cancer energy, Thursday the 5th, might be a very interesting time emotionally for a lot of us. The moon will be waning, just neither here nor there, but Moon is native to Cancer, and it's a lot of watery, emotional energy. And so this sextile that's occurring early in the morning, Uranus in Taurus, of course, being like possessions, but also being related to a number of people having say over property or possessions. So this could be a situation in which an emotional attachment to possessions gets satisfactorily resolved with a group of people. Let's see, we also have Moon in Leo then on Saturday the 7th is going to be square to Uranus in Taurus, and that's going to be either 2:50 or 5:50 in the evening if you're in the US. And so that Moon in Leo energy is very creative. It's very fiery, but it's also like there's an emotional aspect to it. There could be a hidden aspect, but the moon is also about the arts, and Leo is about creativity. So a lot of that going on, but it's possible that if you're working with a group of people and there are shared resources involved, there could be some obstacles there to overcome. And we have then on Monday the 9th a trine between the moon in Virgo and Uranus in Taurus, and that is either going to be around 7:50 or 10:50 in the evening. I'm getting the feeling that it could have to do with health insurance, but it'll be good. It could be like a reduction in your premiums if it has to do with health insurance. It could also be figuring out better ways to organize shared resources. So that could be something as well. And then Wednesday, there's a quincunx between Moon in Libra and Uranus in Taurus, and that's either going to occur late on Wednesday or early on Thursday. So a quincunx is action, and it's very fast moving. And because this is a Moon in Libra energy, following this Moon in Virgo energy, I feel like it's kind of related to whatever that situation is going to be. But because it's the quincunx with the Moon in Libra, then it's going to end up being resolved. So also if there's a legal aspect to it, but Moon in Libra is emotional matters or hidden matters relating to partnerships. So something about that situation will be satisfactorily resolved. Okay, so now we get into the scrying portion. There is a live lodestone in here. And just get a little bit on my finger. And I'm going to put it on the lodestone, or on the Tektite. And again, Tektites have a high iron content. And I'm also going to dot just a little bit on the center of my forehead. What do I need to tell Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead? Get ready for a new assignment. Okay. This could be at work. It could also be within a friend group somehow. So, something like a book club or a new series of events that you are helping to plan with a friend group. But I don't feel like this is necessarily monetarily motivated, but it could end up contributing financially to your existence in some way. They're going to want you to be the one to do the planning because you're good at it. So that's fine, right? Except that a lot of you, I'm sure, are already doing a lot of these things in your day job. So if it's a situation where it becomes too complicated, you're going to have to pull out. And that's not going to be for everyone, but that might be for some of you. Especially if you have Virgo prominently in your chart, it's possible that you are already doing a lot of administrative stuff for a day job that you're not necessarily getting fairly compensated for. Okay, so this is specific. Just because you have an administrative job doesn't mean that you're not going to be wanting to do it outside of work. I think this is more specific to people who don't necessarily have administrative jobs, but who have had a lot of administrative tasks delegated to them for which they are not being fairly compensated. You're going to be much more hesitant to take on these roles in your social circles. And somebody else is involved in this directly insofar as I feel like there's like a group of you who are planning to do this thing, but there's one person who's kind of singled you out as like, I feel like this person, and I'm pointing for a reason. I feel like this person should be the one to do the planning. And it's not that they don't like you, obviously. Like, this is a group of friends, and I'm sure like some of you like each other more or less than others. But it's not because they harbor any resentment against you. It's just that they feel like you're the only one who's going to do a good enough job, and that it's possible that that's true. It's possible that's true. Unfortunately. But unfortunately for them, because, you know, but it's something that may cause you to reevaluate a lot of these situations in your life. It's important when you have a career, a job where you're working for someone else, that you really stick to the script. Sit there, print out your job responsibilities, and keep a copy of that in your desk. Because if you go outside of your job responsibilities and you end up doing all these other things, and it takes away from what your job tasks that are assigned are, you can get in a lot of trouble for that, depending on the place where you work. And it's much easier to sit there and say, look, these are my job responsibilities. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. You need to find the person whose job responsibility that is and get them to do it. Because I cannot. This is keeping me busy enough. And if it's that person's job responsibility and they're your direct supervisor, go over their head. It's better to nip that stuff in the bud. Sorry. Getting very worked up about this. Let me just take a moment. Okay, yeah, it was important for me to say that to somebody, but I was getting really worked up about it. I hate capitalism so much. I don't think any of you should ever have to have the jobs that you do, and it's so important that people get properly compensated for the work that they're doing. And that's not the norm. Anyhow, somebody here does have it out for you, though. Is this the same person? No. That person has only the best interest of the group at heart. This other person seems to be watching you from a distance and kind of like taking notes and describing all of these things about you in a way that's unflattering. So even if you are not doing anything wrong, like you could just be sitting there and they'd be like, well, you're not doing this and you're not doing that, you know, because, you know, like there's gonna assuredly be 5 minutes during a day in which you're not, you know, doing a certain task. It could be that you're even working on a different task at that time, but and it I feel like in some ways this person thinks, because of their position, that it's their responsibility, but it's not. And what's happening is kind of what I was just saying about if you take time away from your own responsibilities to execute other job functions that are not part of your responsibility, and it starts taking away from your time at work. So they're doing this, and they're going to try to use it as deflection, but it's kind of this weird, and it's really going to depend on your place of work as to whether or not this ends up being effective for this person or not. Because they could go around just kind of like trash talking you to a bunch of people. But if it comes back around that they haven't been doing their job and it's because of this, that person is going to get fired. They're going to get in a lot of trouble. And I am really strongly hearing that they're going to get fired. And you may not even know that this is going on until that happens. But if you hear that so-and-so got fired, that's probably why. And if they weren't doing it to you, they were doing it to somebody else. But I really strongly get that this is something that's happening specifically to some Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. That somebody's trying to frame them, and kind of like blackmail almost. Although I'm not entirely sure what that blackmail situation looks like. It's probably going to be different for all of you. But I'm also hearing blackmail. Is there anything else that I need to tell Taurus, sun, moon, and rising for this week? I think that's it. Best of luck. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Let's talk about your ephemera for the week ahead. And it's pretty much restricted to the moon being in your sign of Gemini on Wednesday, November 4th. And you're going to see that progression of transits, which is going to start late on Tuesday and go into early morning Wednesday. And that's going to be the Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn transits, and they're going to be quincunx to the moon in Gemini. Moon in Gemini is emotional or hidden things related to communication. So as far as this relates to that specific transit, I'll just cover it once more again. So Jupiter is about wealth and expansion. And so Capricorn being kind of like about career and success, you're going to see this beginning for wealth and expansion. Pluto is a placement having to do with transformation. It also has to do with things being very nebulous. It's kind of like Schrodinger's cat. Is the cat alive or is the cat dead? At what point are we going to know? That's kind of like Pluto. And then Saturn is concretion and solidification, has to do with endings. So it's this kind of transit where expansion comes in, things kind of change states, and then they become solidified. So in relation to this moon in Gemini transit, and the quincunx, a quincunx is usually a occurrence, and it's a very fast moving energy. So there could be some kind of communication, or there could be a secret, something like that. And that's going to occur on Wednesday, and it's going to happen kind of early in the morning because it'll be over by either 6:45 or 9:45 in the morning on Wednesday. And then another placement that will be interesting. On Tuesday, we had this moon in Gemini squaring Neptune in Pisces, which started a opportune period. And then, so when the moon is void of course at 5:50 or 8:50 in the morning on Wednesday, it's also going to be trining Mercury in Libra, and Mercury has just gone direct. So that opportune period, 2 hours after this square occurs, so around 4:45 or 7:45 in the evening is when this opportune period is going to start. And you'll get a good period of like clarity of thought. And then this moon in Gemini trine Mercury in Libra. Mercury in Libra is communication about partnerships or legal matters. So moon in Gemini being communication about emotional or hidden things. There could be emotional matters that get cleared up. There could be legal matters that get cleared up, but it will be a great time for communication about any of those things. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. I have this Tektite that I'll be using. And of course, get a little bit of Lodestone Oil. And I think I mentioned in the intro that Lodestone Oil is typically used for money drawing, but because of the content of meteoric stones like Tektite, because Tektite sometimes is from the impact, sometimes space junk. It's definitely space junk adjacent. And so high metal contents. I feel like it's not you being a spiritual seeker, but someone adjacent to you is going to be doing some spiritual seeking and is going to come across some information that they relay to you. And they might not even do it in the context of like, I was doing a tarot reading the other day and this information came through for you. I think it's going to be something where they casually mention something in conversation that really deeply resonates with you, and you're going to know that they've been, well, no, you know what? You might not know. You may know that this person has been doing this spiritual work on themselves, but you might also be totally oblivious until they say this thing, and it's just going to click in your mind, and you're going to say, oh my goodness, everything makes so much more sense. This is beautiful. Life is great. I can die a happy person now. It's going to be that kind of revelation, and it's just going to really sink in with you. And again, like I said, you may know that this person was on this path, or you may be totally oblivious to that. And I get the sense that there's a rhythm. There's a rhythm to this interaction that you have with this person. Almost like a waltz or a foxtrot type energy, if that makes any sense. Like in triplets. I feel like there's a lot of triplets, a lot of threes maybe, or sixes or nines in your interactions with this person, but there's like a rhythm to it. It could even be like boots and cats, but I really get the sense that it's more like a based around threes and not like 4 on the floor type beat, which is nice because waltzes and foxtrots have like this really good swing and lilt to them. So it's much more like that, like the babbling of a brook kind of energy as well. So it's possible that this person's a water sign and you're an air sign, and so both of you get that flow very, and it's very complementary. What else do I need to tell Gemini, sun, moon, or rising about the week ahead? Football season. Some Gemini out there is asking me about football season. What are you talking about? You know that I hate football. Let me just get out of my own head for a minute. Right. Somebody is asking me about football season because there's a series of gatherings that they have at their house. And I don't know if it's every Sunday, but it's like most of the Sundays when there's a football game on, there's a Gemini, sun, moon, or rising out there, possibly a few of you, or possibly many of you. I mean, let's be real, a lot of people watch football. You're wondering about your Super Bowl party, but you're also, it's more than that. It's not just like the Super Bowl party. It's also like, getting behind a winner. Sorry, this is quite far outside my ballywick, so it's going to take me a moment to kind of parse this out. People are already asking you about your Super Bowl party. That's what it is. And you want to know what to tell them. This is somebody who has like this is like you throw down for the Super Bowl. We're talking like a bunch of people over at your house. And you're starting to think about, like, how am I going to handle this? Yeah, because it's really not probably going to be advisable to do that. I think that if you had everybody get tests beforehand even, might not be great to do that. It's not super safe. And I know that you guys, I feel like this is somebody who's older. This could even be somebody's parent who's starting to talk about this. I know you guys are not crazy about the idea of telecommuting for a Super Bowl party. But I feel like there's and you can start working on this now because then you'll have time, right? You can start working on how you're going to set up your live stream feed if you decide to do this. I feel like there's a way for a lot of you, maybe through your satellite provider or something, or maybe you have some kind of like internet provider who's tied to your TV service in such a way that there's going to be a way to do picture in picture, and you'll be able to hang out in your separate places, almost like if you were doing a Zoom meeting and the football game is like the shared screen, and then whoever is talking or whatever flashes on that picture in picture. And you're going to find a way to set that up. And it's not ideal, but it's better than everybody coming to the same place. So if you have been trying to figure out how to handle that, I think that is going to be the best way to do it, and just have no more than 6 people at a time in each household, which, I mean, it's easier then to find hosts for that, because you can have, like, if you usually have like 36 people at your party, 6 of you can then host 6 people at each party and remain properly distanced and maintain face covering and stuff like that, and then have this little picture-in-picture thing set up so you can kind of hang out between the parties. And it's not ideal, and I know that you're hoping that all of this is going to be cleared up by February, but honestly, it's much safer, and you'll be happier if all of you are safe than if you all end up getting sick and somebody ends up having a really bad time because of it. But anyway, I think like some of you are going to figure out some way to do that, and that's what's coming up for that football situation. What else do I need to tell Gemini? Sun, moon, or rising, or sun, moon, and rising this week. That's it. That's it for you, Gemini. Hello, Cancer. So let's talk about your week ahead for November 4th through November 11th. And most of the action for you is going to be on the 5th and 6th when the moon is in your sign. Now, this is actually somewhat important because moon is native to your sign of Cancer. And the moon is going to enter your sign around 1:45 or 4:45 in the afternoon of Wednesday the 4th. And then you're going to have a few transits occurring on the 5th and 6th. And then it's going to enter Leo either around 11:20 or 2:20 in the morning of evening of Friday the 6th or morning of Saturday the 7th. So we start on Thursday the 5th, and we're going to have squares. The square with Chiron in Aries is going to occur around 12:50 or 3:50 in the early hours of the morning. And then the square with Mars in Aries is going to be around 8 p.m. or 11 p.m., depending on which coast of the United States you may or may not be living on, because I understand not everybody lives here in the U.S., but those are the times that I have here in my planner, so that's kind of how I limit it. So that Chiron in Aries is the energy of the healer, and it's healing all these things about ourselves that are maybe some of the less desirable aspects of the sign of Aries. And it can be stuff like being impetuous, moving too quickly, being more starting things more readily than finishing them, stuff like that. And moon in your sign of Cancer, that being the native, it's strengthened, but it's also about this emotionally charged, watery energy, and it can be very like a tidal wave. And so that's very antithetical to Aries energy, which is very hot and fire oriented. But you start with this healing energy early in the morning, and it might be difficult to work through, but it will be, for the best. And I think it probably does have to do with emotional states for you, Cancer. And then in the evening, when that Mars in Aries transit squares and comes through, that's going to be the action part. That's going to be the part that you take action on this emotional healing that you've been undergoing. You're also going to have a square with Venus in Libra, and that's going to be kind of in the middle of the morning or the early afternoon. And Venus in Libra is romantic partnerships. So there could be some difficult energies that need to be reconciled regarding that. You also have a sextile with Uranus in Taurus, and that's going to occur either at 6:20 or 9:20 in the morning if you're in the US. And that sextile energy with the Uranus in Taurus is going to be about shared possessions and emotional attachment kind of getting resolved, or things being worked out. So if there's some kind of, not like a custody arrangement, because obviously your kids aren't possessions, but if it's something that you share with other people, like if you have roommates and you have a kitchen that you all share or something like that, there's going to be some things that get worked out with that. And because it's a sextile, it could even be that you guys institute some kind of chore wheel, or institute some kind of thing that is kind of like different pie pieces. And then at around 5 or 8 p.m., there's going to be a trine with the sun in Scorpio and moon in Cancer. And so that's a lot of water energy. And it's emotional or hidden things, and it's related to death, sex, and other people's money. So there could be news of an inheritance coming through, or it could be, but not necessarily like somebody dies and you hear about your inheritance. I feel like this is more like energy of you get an email from your parents and they're like, we've been working on our will. We're settling up our estate. Is there anything that you want when we die? That kind of an energy. Now, the moon is going to be in Cancer all day the next day on Friday the 6th as well. And we're going to start out with a trine with Neptune in Pisces. So that's a very watery energy. And that's going to be early in the morning, either around 1:13 or 4:13 in the morning. So you might not even be awake for this, but it's going to be a really watery energy, and it could be good for prophetic dreams. So if you wake up during that time, make sure that you write down whatever you were dreaming about and revisit it later. And then we're going to have that series of Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn moving through that moon in Cancer opposition. And that's going to start at 8 or 11 in the morning and end around 4:50 or 7:50 in the evening. And so Jupiter being expansion and wealth, Pluto being things transforming or being in an unclear state. So like a nebulous state, not being sure what's going on. And then Saturn being concretion and endings. So as you move through this with your, because it's in Capricorn, it's probably related to career or financial stability. And the moon in Cancer being in opposition is home life, desire for security, emotional feelings, and so you're going to have, like this very, it might even be like trying to strike a balance between your work life and your home life and figuring that out. And then later in the evening, either around 5:30 or 8:30, you're going to get a square between Moon in Cancer and Mercury in Libra. And Mercury in Libra is communication about partnerships or legal matters. So there could be some interesting news coming in there, good or bad. And yeah, that's it for your ephemera this week. I'm just going to get some of this Lodestone Oil. And put it on the end of my finger. Alright, Cancer. Sun, Moon, and Rising. What do I need to tell Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead, the 4th through the 11th of November? I'm hearing something about your weakness is growing into your strength, and that could mean a few different things. It could mean that your weakness is becoming your strength because of personal growth, but it could also mean that your weakness is growing and overtaking the parts of you that are strong, that have strength, eating those parts up and pushing them out. It's going to be different for all of you. So for some of you it's going to be one way, and for some of you it's going to be another. How are you going to know the difference? Taste it for yourself. It'll be probably pretty apparent. Is there any way to overcome that for people who are experiencing an overgrowth of their weaknesses? Yes. But you have to already be working on it. Why is that? Because somebody else is here and they want to come through. Okay, yeah, so if somebody else is already waiting in the wings to come through in your personality, then it's going to be much easier to start kind of quelling that uprising of your weaker natures. But you have to be training the side of you that doesn't do that. And I mean, it's possible to experience both positive growth and negative growth simultaneously. And it makes it so that you have to keep a space available in front of your house. You have to block off that parking spot so that if emergency vehicles need to park there, that they have a place to park. But it's also a place where someone can park if they can't walk very far. So it's not just for the infirm. but also for emergency vehicles. And some of you that may actually mean a parking spot in front of your place of residence, but in this particular case, I'm just talking about leaving a space for expansion of the positive traits of your personality, but understanding what needs to take precedence and why. These parts of the Cancerian personality, is this going to be something that they can overcome? No, but not for the reasons that you're thinking. And I don't mean that like you can't overcome it. For some of you, it is like that. For some of you, it's like there's just going to be some things that are always going to happen. And it's just going to be part of the way that you live your life. And you're just going to have to keep it trimmed back. But you're never going to be able to clear that patch of land of weeds, so to speak. And it's important to leave an empty space without having it become a gulf and go from a gulf to a void. So for some of you, that's going to be the case as well. What else do I need to tell Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising about this week ahead? There's been a concerted effort in your life to make sure that the people who stay there are the ones who are aligned with your better purpose. I feel like Cancers are probably pretty good at that, and only maintaining the connections that are going to bring good things to them. But not because of that, just because they're good people to have in your life. But some of them are more good to have in your life than others. And there's going to be kind of an evaluation about how certain people are affecting you. And it's not necessarily like that they mean you ill, but the way that they affect you isn't good. And that could even be on you. But if the way that the person affects you is you can't change that and it's not good, it doesn't matter if it's something that they're doing on purpose or not. It could just be that it's not a good person for you to maintain a close relationship with. So I feel like that's going to be the case for some of you, that even though this person's not toxic, it could just be like not good for you to be around them. And that's possible because, I mean, if you think about it, like, how many people that you know are actually actively toxic people, and how many of them are just normal people that maybe you don't always get along with? So there's going to be that aspect to it as well. And some of them, there's going to be like and I see people standing in a kitchen. So it could even be like a situation where you get in an argument about who does the dishes or how the kitchen is maintained or something like that. But I do see there being like an actual spoken conflict between you. that kind of resolves your mindset about this person. And it could be a roommate, it could be somebody you're super close to, or it could just be a friend type acquaintance, and you are hanging out with a group of people, and this person's like, well, you don't use a spoon rest in your kitchen? And you're like, well, no, I always just get a plate whenever I'm cooking something, and then I use the plate. Something that, you know, is just a difference of opinion, really, when it comes down to it, but they have a very strong opinion about how they feel things should be done, and it's at odds with how you would like to have things done. And because it becomes more of an issue, I feel like that is going to be kind of the dividing line for you, that you decide to not continue your and you're probably not even going to say anything like, oh, I never want to speak to you again. It's probably just going to be like they leave that day, and then you just don't ever hit them up again. And if you see them around or whatever, you're just kind of like, whatever. You're not like going out of your way to foster this person's presence in your life. Is there anything else I need to tell Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising about this week? It's okay to let people go. It's okay to let certain things leave your life. You don't have to, just because you let one thing go, you don't have to get rid of everything. And that's it. Hi, Leos. Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's time to talk about your week ahead for November 4th through the 11th. So the main thing that we're going to be looking at is when the moon enters your sign, either late on Friday night or early on Saturday morning. And then the moon will be in your sign Saturday and Sunday, and will enter Virgo kind of early in the morning on Monday. So let's see what all will be happening. Saturday, the 7th, there's going to be a trine with Chiron in Aries. And then the follow-up to that is that the trine with Mars in Aries is going to be early on Sunday morning. And that series of placements, so the moon being in Leo is a very creative energy. Moon is artistic energy, and then combined with the creativity of Leo, there's a lot of potential there. Chiron in Aries is healing those parts of yourself that are impetuous, move too quickly, more eagerly begin things than see them through. And so that trine placement then being followed up with the action trine placement of Mars in Aries, which is a very passionate, action-oriented, swift-moving energy. Could be good for artistic projects, and that's going to be, you know, kind of in the morning of Saturday to the early morning of Sunday. You'll have kind of a window there to work on that. You'll also have on Saturday a square with Uranus in Taurus, which is going to be around 2:50 or 5:50 in the afternoon, depending on if you live in the United States and what coast you live on. Again, I have ephemera for the United States, but if you live outside of the United States, you can find out when these placements will be occurring for you. Very early, the wee hours of Sunday morning, there is a sextile between Venus in Libra and Moon in Leo. And that's a good creative energy for romantic partnerships or involving romantic partnerships. And again, that's going to be around 12:30 or 3:30 in the morning, depending on where you live. We have a square between Moon in Leo and the Sun in Scorpio, and that's going to be either 5:45 or 8:45 in the morning of Sunday the 8th, if you live in the United States. And that Sun in Scorpio energy is death, sex, and other people's resources. And as that relates to this artistic, creative energy coming from Leo, Leo is also a very romantic sign. So it could be about a romantic relationship, but it could also be about finding an artistic patron of some kind. But that being a square placement, there's also an opportune period where when the moon squares the sun today until the moon goes void of course on Monday, it's a very good time for closing a deal or for socializing and having fun. And the moon is going to go void of course at either 3 or 6 in the morning on Monday the 9th. All right, so then the moon is going to have some quincunx placements. First, it's going to be quincunx Neptune in Pisces, and that's a very watery energy, but this is an action energy, okay? Quincunx is an action energy, so that quincunx with Neptune in Pisces could just blow the back out of everything and open up all of these creative possibilities that you never considered before. And that's going to be around 8:45 or 11:45 in the morning. And then starting at 3:50 or 6:50 in the evening, and then going through the late night and early morning of Monday is going to be that series of transits with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn all in Capricorn. And those are all going to be quincunx as well. So there could be some new, amazing artistic creative solutions as relates to this career, wealth and expansion, nebulization, and then concretion and endings. All of that related to career. And then on Monday, you also have the moon in Leo sextile Mercury in Libra, and that is when the moon is going to be void of course, and the end of that opportune period that I mentioned before. And right after that, then the moon's going to go into Libra. And that moon in Leo sextile Mercury in Libra. Mercury in Libra is communication regarding relationships, or it could be legal matters. So then that related to creative endeavors. You might even sleep through this one, but it could be a good creative time for some of you who like to burn the midnight oil. All right, so let's find out a little bit more for Leo in the week ahead. I've got this Lodestone Oil. Again, really much better for drawing money to you. But because of the magnetic energy and the meteoric energy, both being very metallic, I wanted to use the Lodestone Oil with the Tektite this week. Leo, branching out, I see, into some new or different endeavors. Some things maybe that you're revisiting. Although I'm getting like a really fresh energy out of this as well. Like maybe it's things that you've done before, but you're doing them in a new and different way. But I'm really getting like a sense that there's something that you're doing that you haven't done yet before. Trying new things. And it's going to open up new possibilities to you, which isn't always a given. You know, that's a really easy fortune teller thing to say is, you're going to try something new and it's going to open up new possibilities. But keep in mind that not every new thing that you try ends up being a success. So if I'm telling you that you're going to try new things and it could be a great fresh start for you, I mean just that. And some of you are going to find great success. Some of you are going to take the information that you gather from this endeavor and apply it to other things, and that's where your success is going to come from. But I do get the sense that this is going to really change up whatever you've been working on in a way that makes it much more appealing to others and really fresh and a new way for you to do things moving forward that you find very effective. So that'll be coming in for you this week, the 4th through the 11th, maybe. You might not see the results until later in the month, but I feel like that's when this is going to start. What else do I need to tell Leo? Sun, moon, and rising. Something about baking soda. I did just make some natron this morning. So natron is equal parts of sea salt and baking soda, and you make them into a paste with a little bit of water, and then you stir it all up, and then you dry it out in the oven. So I did just do that. But what is it related to that? It's an amalgamation. So a lot of you are going to be accomplishing some kind of similar amalgamation. And there's something else about it too that makes it more specific to each one of you. Because I'm really getting a lot about what my own interests are in this situation. Get rid of your doubts. A lot of the things that you have doubts about are not valid concerns. These are things that are coming from other people. And these people might be very well educated, and they might have their reasons for holding the beliefs that they do. But that's not a universal truism. You have to look at why these things might be very true and might be true for them, but might not be relevant to your situation. I think there's a certain amount of that as well going on. People care about you a lot, and they care about what you have going on. And I feel like you're going to be returning to something that maybe you thought that people didn't care about it, but you'll find that actually a lot more people care about it than you might be giving it credit for. And new things are going to be coming through around that fresh energy, around that. And this could be an artistic project. Obviously, Moon in Leo is going to be really good for artistic energy. But it could also be related to something that has to do with career, especially as those career-related transits come through your sign, and I think that is that a quincunx? Yeah, that's going to be a quincunx, so that's going to be like an action-related energy. It could have to do with career, and it could be a new creative solution for you to something that you have been encountering in your career. All of these people around you that care a lot about what you're doing, a lot of your friends would care no matter what you were doing. And you're going to give them more. You're going to give them more this week. You're going to give people more of yourself this week. And it will end up being returned to you. And I think that, I know for me, and I think for some of you as well, an issue that I've been having recently is feeling like I'm giving and I'm not getting the same amount in return in some cases. Now, obviously with the YouTube channel, I feel very supported. So I really appreciate that. But there have been some other things where I even questioned if maybe I was dealing with energy vampirism, just because I felt like there were situations where I was putting a lot of energy out and not getting as much back. Energy vampirism and blocks and stuff like that. And the honest truth is that sometimes it's just not the right time for something, and you just have to wait until it comes back around. And in the meantime, just be, doing your own thing. And if it's really sick, people will catch on to it. And so I think that's kind of like your friends are going to start catching on to what you have going on, getting wise to it, so to speak. And there's someone out there specifically for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising this week. This person really wants to help you. They really want to move you forward with what you're doing. And it could be a few people, but I feel like there's one person in particular who, and I feel like it doesn't, like, it's not like they have to go above and beyond in order to have this be a successful endeavor for you. I feel like it's just like they just kind of pluck what you have going on up like this, and they plug it in to this other situation over here, almost like they are the telephone operator in this situation, whatever it is, and that person ends up really creating this great connection for you that ends up then taking you off into a new place that will end up being really good for you. Is there anything else that I need to tell Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead of November 4th through the 11th? Eat your Wheaties. Like, make sure that you're taking your vitamins and supplements and drinking lots of water. Take care of your body, because you might get distracted and not be working on that as much. Is there anything else I need to tell Leos? Just be mindful of this potentially really good artistic period for you that's going to be occurring over the weekend. Just keep that in mind. And that will be the fourth quarter of the moon. Our next new moon, we just had the full moon on Halloween, but the next new moon is going to be Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th, and that's going to be in Scorpio. So just keep these things in mind. And I think that's all for you. for this week, Leo. Good luck. Your week ahead. Hello, Virgo, and welcome to your weekly forecast for the week of the 4th of November through the 11th of November. And the bulk of your ephemera specific to Virgo for this week is going to be occurring when the moon is in your sign, and that's going to start around 5:30 or 8:30 in the morning, depending on if you live on the east or west coast of the United States. And I understand that a lot of you don't live in the US, but my information regarding the ephemera is from my planner, and so it's going to be specific to the United States. But you can look it up for your local. So the moon is going to enter Virgo around that time, and that's going to be on Monday the 9th. And it will remain in your sign until 8 or 11 in the morning of Wednesday the 11th, when it's going to move into Libra. So some of the transits that we're looking at on Monday, we've got one thing that's been happening is Chiron and Mars are in Aries. And so in relation to the moon, you'll see Chiron, which is the healer, and kind of working on these issues having to do with starting projects and not finishing them, being impatient with things, moving too quickly with things, working on that energy. And then when Mars in Aries comes through, that's taking action. That's a passionate, fast-moving energy. So that is going to occur for you starting at 3 or 6 p.m. on Monday the 9th. And then the Mars in Aries, and these are both quincunx. So this is like fast-moving, action-oriented. Is going to occur 7:45 or 10:45 in the morning of Tuesday the 10th. And so that could be related to your health, needing to pay attention to health concerns. It could also be related to things cropping up out of the blue in your schedule and having to rework your schedule to accommodate these things. And then later in the evening on Monday the 9th, you've got the moon in Virgo trine Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus in Taurus, it has to do with a group of people having control over some kind of property. So that will be either related to scheduling and having to schedule different times for maybe like a piece of equipment or use of a certain room or something like that. Or it could have to do with something like your health insurance premiums going down. It could be any of those things. So then Tuesday the 10th, we've got an opposition between the moon in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces, and that's happening in the early afternoon of Tuesday the 10th. Now, moon in Virgo is either emotional or hidden things having to do with your health or your daily routines. And then Neptune in Pisces is this very nebulous, watery energy. So for that to be an opposition is kind of like, maybe your daily routines get thrown out of whack. Like, getting a lot of that kind of energy here for the 9th and the 10th, just that there might be some kind of disruption or some kind of new event that's coming into your schedule that you're going to have to work into your routines. Or it could be something having to do with your health. And I know sometimes Virgos can have a tendency toward hypochondria, But again, that's just going to be you knowing yourself and your body the best. And so following that, we've got a sextile, and this is going to begin an opportune period as well. So that's going to be a sextile between the moon in Virgo and sun in Scorpio. That's going to start around 2 p.m. or 5 p.m., depending again on if you live in America and you're closer to one of those coasts. It's more like a time frame, giving you an idea of when this is going to occur, because again, it's going to be different for everyone. But that's going to be until the moon is void, of course, on Wednesday, and that is about 12 or 13 hours later. So that's about 12 or 13 hour window of this opportune period, which is going to be good for productivity, getting organized, and tidying up. So 3 things to keep in mind. And then you're going to have the Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, all of those moving through a trine placement with the moon in Virgo. Now, moon in Virgo, emotional or hidden things related to daily life and health. And then this Jupiter being wealth and expansion, nebulization, or things kind of transforming, and then a concretion or an ending. And that is going to be all in Capricorn, which could have to do with career or like long-term finances. And that's going to start on Tuesday the 10th at around 8 p.m. or 11 p.m. And then on Wednesday, it'll wrap up around 3 a.m. or 6 a.m. when the moon is void, of course. And then finally on Wednesday, the 11th, the moon is going to enter Libra. So that is the end of your transits for this period of the November 4th through the 11th. And I'm going to get out this Tektite and anoint it with Lodestone Oil. And Lodestone Oil is generally a drawing oil for money, but I'm using it here because of the metallic content of Tektites being good for that kind of drawing aspect of this particular oil. There seems to be something right here about your some of you, there's something going on with the bathroom at work. Either you find yourself spending a lot of time in there, or that this one bathroom has been broken for too long, and you may end up launching a complaint about this. Lodging a complaint. A perfectly reasonable complaint with a supervisor. And having to use your Virgo administrative skills to follow through the chain of command until you get to somebody who's going to listen to you about this bathroom complaint. And the problem is that this is something that needs to be fixed, okay? And a lot of people just don't seem to be taking it seriously. And if this is not a bathroom, it could be something else that's a similar situation, to where there's something that's really adversely affecting your environment, work or school. I feel like it's a work or a school thing. It's not like in your household. It's really adversely affecting your environment. And you, in order to take the reins on it and get it taken care of or fixed, in order to do that, you end up having to dedicate a lot of time to this issue that then ends up taking away from your primary work assignment. And I really feel like, because I got similar messages in the Taurus reading that were related to somebody who had like a Taurus placement and a Virgo placement. If you are a Taurus also, because this is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, it might be somebody who has a Virgo and a Taurus placement. Because I feel like you're not the kind of person who normally complains about stuff. You probably try to keep pretty much to your own business as much as possible. But that in this particular situation, you're having to dedicate a lot of time to getting this thing resolved. And it's something that, you know, really isn't your responsibility. And it's something that is really taking a lot of time away from what you need to be doing. But it has to get resolved in order for everyone to have a better situation. And it's not something that you can delegate to somebody else, because they're not going to care about it enough to follow through with it, is what I'm getting. I'm really not sure why there's no reason why this should have gotten to the point that you're the one taking care of it. And there's something particular, I don't know if you have like, I mean, in an extreme case, like this is somebody who has IBS or a medical condition that, because this particular situation has gone down the way it did, that it's really adversely affecting you and causing you a lot of problems. Whereas other people might not have the same relationship with this problem. And that's why you're the one who's having to take care of it. And nobody's fighting you on this. It's not that people are fighting you on this. It's that it takes so much. It's going to take so much to get this remedied that people don't want to have to deal with it. And it's, you know, it's really, it's really chomping up a lot of time. And it should just be easy. It should just be the kind of thing that you say, all right, this needs to get fixed. And it does. But for some reason, people are not taking initiative. And it could be because of how things are being run with the pandemic. So that if you are one of 6 people that are still like working from the office, for example, that's why they haven't done anything about it. They just don't see it as that urgent. But for you it is. Is there anything else that I need to tell Virgo about this week ahead? Yeah, this moon transit for you has the potential to clear a lot of that out. Where you've got the Aries energy coming through, and then that placement with the trine with the Capricorn transits. Use that to your benefit. So like Monday's a good day to start with like a new project that is to remedy a situation. And then Tuesday evening into Wednesday, you can kind of wrap a lot of stuff up regarding that. And I would make a big deal about how much this affects your ability to do your job, and that you've had to dedicate a lot of time to that, because people are going to be looking at your timesheets after this, and you're going to have to say, look, I had to take care of this in order to get on with the rest of my workday, but it's so far outside my job description that I had to do this. Keep track of how much time you had to spend doing that, and you know, really make a big deal about, I shouldn't have had to dedicate this much time to this. Is there anything else that I need to tell Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising? Take care of your health this week, for sure. And keep your health at the forefront. Because health insurance doesn't pay for what it used to. And it's easier to prevent illness in this case than it is going to be to treat it. And so for some of you who are dealing with this situation, I feel like the ramifications of this problem are directly related to your health. But that for some of you, it's mostly related to your ability to maintain your daily routines and schedules. But, you know, your health is more important than the livelihoods of your employer. Just keep that in mind. Is there anything else I need to tell Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead? Good luck. Wish you the best. Hello, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and welcome to your week ahead for November 4th through the 11th. 11/11/2020. So we have a few things going on in Libra. Mercury and Venus are both in Libra this week, and then the moon will be entering your sign on the 11th. So, in relation to that, on Wednesday the 4th, there's a trine between Mercury in Libra and the moon in Gemini, which is going to be occurring around 5:50 or 8:50 in the morning. Again, that's if you live in the United States, and those are the two coastal times. And that's going to be when the moon is void of course. So Mercury and Gemini are both related to communication energy. The moon is emotional or hidden things, and then Libra can be about partnerships, or it can be about legal matters. So something beneficial either in partnerships or legal matters might be coming to light, or there might be an emotional communication that is beneficial. Thursday the 5th, we have the moon is now in Cancer. So there's going to be a square between the moon in Cancer and Venus in Libra. Venus in Libra is romantic relationships. I mean, it could also be legal matters regarding romantic matters like marriage and divorce and stuff like that. And you could really reach and say that Venus also has to do with like paychecks. Like Venus governs Friday, also governs money to an extent. So it can be like paycheck to paycheck, that kind of income. But really, it's mostly about romantic partnerships, this Venus in Libra energy. And there's going to be a square. And so Moon in Cancer is a very emotionally charged, watery energy. And so that's going to be around like 10:20 in the morning or 1:20 in the afternoon. And that could just be some kind of interaction with someone that's just very emotionally charged, whether for good or for bad. Friday the 6th, then we have around 5:30 or 8:30 in the evening, the Moon in Cancer is going to be void, of course, and there's going to be a square with Mercury in Libra. Mercury in Libra, again, being about communication, can be in partnerships, or it could be about legal matters. But again, very emotionally charged, so just look out for that. The next Libra placement we're looking at is Sunday the 8th, and Venus in Libra is going to be sextile the Moon in Leo, and that's going to be very early in the morning, either around midnight or around 3:30 in the morning if you're in the United States on either coast. And Venus in Libra, again, being very romantically charged energy, and the Moon in Leo is very creative, very artistic, could be emotional and romantic. So that's a very good energy for relationships. But that's just going to depend on if you're awake at that hour or not. Then we have Moon in Leo is going to be sextile Mercury in Libra. So that's good for communication about creative things. And that's going to be the early hours of Monday the 9th. And the Moon will be void, of course, at that time. And again, it's really just going to matter if you're awake for that. And then on Wednesday the 11th, the Moon is going to enter your sign at either 8 or 11 in the morning. And there's going to be a quincunx with Neptune in Pisces, between Venus and Libra and Neptune in Pisces. Quincunx is like a fast-moving, action-oriented energy. Venus in Libra being relationships, and Neptune in Pisces being this very nebulous, watery energy. So it could have to do with just being very in touch with your emotions and feelings, and that's sparking something in a relationship. You've got an opposition between the Moon in Libra and Chiron in Aries, and that's going to occur either at 5 or 8 in the evening. And Chiron in Aries being the first part of this transit. So Chiron's in Aries and Mars is in Aries, and Mars is going to be in retrograde until Friday the 13th. Ooh, spooky. But when you get Chiron coming through first, you have like this healing energy in relation to the moon and whatever that moon sign transit is. And so with this opposition with Moon in Libra, it could be that truths are coming out about things that maybe you have been too hasty in or impatient about, or even if you have started something and not been able to follow through with it. And then the Mars in Aries transit is going to come through after that, and that's going to be on Thursday the 12th, so kind of outside of the window, but That's the action part of that, to where whatever gets stirred up by that Chiron in Aries energy, the Mars in Aries energy, is going to be the action, the quick, swift dealing with whatever that is. You're also going to have a quincunx with Uranus in Taurus and the moon in Libra. And Uranus in Taurus is any kind of joint property, any kind of shared possessions, even if you have roommates and you all share a kitchen, use dishes or something like that, it could be related to those matters. Again, quincunx being a very fast-moving, action-oriented energy. This is going to be late at night on Wednesday the 11th or very early in the morning on Thursday the 12th. And then moon in Libra being about emotional or unseen things in relation to partnerships and legal matters. And in this case, I'm seeing that it is an equalizing of something. So there could be a situation where there's a shared possession or shared property and something happens that kind of levels out the playing field for everyone involved in that. All right, so let's see what is coming through for you in the week ahead, Libra. I'm going to use the Lodestone Oil. Typically this is used as a money drawing oil, but I'm using it with the Tektite because of the iron content of meteorite stones, and this being either an impactite or space junk. Let me readjust myself briefly. Sorry about that. Libra. Get your head out of the clouds. I'm hearing something about that. But, Libra is an air sign, but it's one of the better grounded air signs, I think. Well, depending on your other chart placements, am I right? So this is Libra, sun, moon, and rising. You've got the opportunity to take advantage of a situation, but only if you're able to get your head out of the clouds long enough to recognize what is going on around you. So this is going to be related to one of these quincunx, right? It's not that. Let's see. I feel it's in relation to some of these quincunx that are coming through, but your major quincunx placements are going to be on Wednesday the 11th, which is rather late in the game. So it might have to do with some of the quincunx placements in one of your other, like Libra, sun, moon, or rising, one of your other sun, moon, or rising signs. It might have to do with that. But, yeah, because I feel like, now this is for the Libra reading, but I feel like it's only for some of you. I feel like this, there's a quincunx placement with the moon in Virgo and that Chiron in Aries and Mars in Aries, and that's going to be on Monday and Tuesday, kind of in the afternoon to the middle of the morning on Tuesday. So I'm not sure if any of you have Libra in your chart, but I feel like specifically for Aries or for Libra, this particular transit with the moon in Virgo and then those two Aries placements is going to be relevant to you in some way, shape, or form. That this is going to be an energy relating to new people coming into your life, and you're going to have the opportunity to really wow them. Really wow them or win them over. And that is going to bring in new opportunities for you. But not just new opportunities. I feel like this person kind of changes your life a little bit. Not completely. And I don't think for all of you this is going to be a romantic partnership. I think for quite a few of you this is going to be a partnership that is beneficial in business and in friendships, but it's not necessarily related to romantic partnerships, but it is something you're going to have to act on and form a genuine connection with this person right off the bat. So not approaching them like, and you'll know when you meet the person, and you probably will form a connection with them right off the bat, but you know, not the kind of thing where you're just like, oh yeah, let's just exchange Instagrams or whatever. This is going to be somebody that you find out more about what they have going on, and that's how you're able to stay in touch with them in the future. So not just like a superficial kind of like, oh yeah, let me jot down your Insta, or let's mutual follow on Insta, you know, but more of a genuine connection than that. But it's going to be formed very quickly. What else do I need to tell Libra about this upcoming week? Something about the election. I feel like Libra in particular, I know that there's somebody that is out there who's a Libra that I often get information for this person or for this group of people about social justice issues. And I'm not making any election predictions when I say this. But I feel like there's going to be something in the election results that you're very glad that turned out the way that it did. And I don't know if that's going to be the presidential election or if there are referendums on your ballot. I know that there's like a lot of propositions up for vote on the California ballot. So it might be something like that, where you have a local referendum that either gets passed or voted down, that you're very glad that was the outcome for that. I feel like, yeah, this Mercury in Libra, which part? Because Mercury's gone direct now, but it's not going to leave its storm until Sunday the 8th, right? Is it earlier in the week or? Just pay attention to Mercury in your sign this week. It has to do with communication. Mercury will have gone direct on the 3rd, and then, you know, like I said, will be in its storm until the 8th. So just pay attention to Mercury's energies during that time. It's going to be passing through different moon transits with moon in Gemini and moon in Cancer, moon in Leo, and then it'll be out of its storm. So Gemini, Cancer, Leo, moon transits with that Mercury in Libra energy. I feel like there's something that bears paying attention to there, because moon in Gemini is like communication about emotional or unclear things, and then your Mercury in Libra being a communication equalizer, right? And evening out, whether it's in relationships or has to do with legal matters. There's going to be this evening out of communication in regards to that Gemini communication or Cancer, moon in Cancer. Moon is native to Cancer. So when you have the moon in Cancer, it's like a very watery, very emotional time for a lot of different signs. So this equalization of communication, acting kind of like Occam's razor, right? And rather than people jumping to conclusions necessarily and stuff like that, having a tendency to keep a more even perspective. And when I say Occam's razor, I mean like, if it doesn't seem obvious that that's the case, it's probably not the case. So keeping that kind of energy in mind. And then when the moon enters Leo, that's going to be a really creative energy. So then you'll get the opportunity to use this Mercury in Libra discernment type energy to launch creative projects in an organized way. All right, what else do I need to tell Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising about this week, the 4th through the 11th? Maybe you're going backpacking. I think some Libras are going backpacking, like going on a trip, but not going on not like taking an airplane or anything like that, but going on like a backpacking trip. Might not be very long. It's kind of a cold time of year to be hiking in a lot of places. So this isn't going to be for a lot of Libras. This is going to be for some people who maybe live in a warmer climate for sure, because otherwise, I mean, you're not going to be backpacking in Wisconsin right now. You know, that would just be brutal. I know some people are into ice fishing. It could be something like that. But if you're looking at like the Alaskan wilderness or something really brutal like that, like backpacking isn't going to be a good idea. But it's possible that to you it's backpacking, but actually you're going to your friend's ice hunting cabin, or ice fishing cabin or something like that, where you're just packing an overnight bag, but you'll be sufficiently equipped. You'll be sufficiently equipped for this outdoor expedition, but you won't have to bring a lot of stuff because somebody else is going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Okay. What else do I need to tell Libra? And it'll be a good way for you to get your mind off of everything that has been going on over the past few months, if you're in America specifically. But then I feel like for the rest of you throughout the world, like even if you're not super focused on what's going on in America, that there are things that have been kind of scattering your energies, that you're going to be able to go on this trip with your friends who are taking care of you, and you'll all have a really good time, and it'll be a good way for you to bring it all back together, bring it all back in for yourself, reground and recenter yourself. Is there anything else that I need to tell Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising? Nope, that's it for now. Good luck. Has anyone ever told you that if you were a breakfast cereal, you would be Scorpios? Let's just talk about your week ahead, shall we? November 4th through the 11th. There isn't a lot of ephemera for you for this week, but the sun is in Scorpio, and Mercury will be entering Scorpio. It was in retrograde and it backed up into Libra. Now it's moving back into your sign of Scorpio. So that's occurring on Tuesday the 10th. On Thursday the 5th, there's going to be a trine between Moon in Cancer and the Sun in Scorpio. That's going to be around 5 or 8 in the evening, depending on if you live in the United States and which coast you might be on. So Moon in Cancer is a very watery energy. Moon is native to Cancer. It's a very emotional energy, emotionally charged. And Sun in Scorpio, death, sex, and other people's resources. So this could be an emotional discussion with somebody about any of those topics, or an emotional encounter with somebody, because we're not necessarily talking about communication here. Excuse me. We have a square with the Moon in Leo and Sun in Scorpio occurring on Sunday the 8th. And Moon in Leo is a very creative and romantically charged emotional energy, or it could be about hidden creativities as well. And Sun in Scorpio, again, death, sex, other people's resources. It's a renewal before the renewal. So that's going to be around 5:45 or 8:45 in the morning. So around the time that a lot of you might be asleep, because it is going to be Sunday. Just keep that in mind, although it does begin a opportune period. So after the moon squares the sun today, until it is void of course on Monday, which is going to occur around 3 or 6 in the morning if you live in the United States. And that will be good for closing deals or for socializing and having fun, because Scorpios just want to have fun. And then Monday the 9th, there's going to be a trine between Sun in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. And that's going to be either very late on Monday or very early on Tuesday. That's water energy, water on water. It'll be very similar to that Moon in Cancer energy trine Sun in Scorpio. So kind of like the Moon in Cancer is this octave, and then Neptune in Pisces is the next octave up. And of course, Neptune is native to Pisces. So you'll be getting the benefit of that kind of energy. Moon in Virgo then is going to be sextile the sun in Scorpio on Tuesday afternoon. Moon in Virgo is emotional or hidden things related to your daily routines or your health. And as that relates to death, sex, and other people's resources, that could be it could be beneficial to you in a variety of different ways. It could be a reduction in healthcare costs because of something related to your health insurance group or your health insurance through work, possibly, something like that. Or it could have to do with daily routines shifting, in injecting more passion into your daily life. There's quite a few things that could kind of fall under that umbrella. And I think, yeah, and then the only other thing being that Tuesday is the day that Mercury goes back into your sign of Scorpio, and that's going to occur in the afternoon. All right. I feel a little bit silly. I feel my dad humor coming out for your reading this week, Scorpio. I wonder what that's about. I'm going to be using this Lodestone Oil, which is a drawing oil for money, primarily, but I wanted to use it with the Tektite because of the iron content of meteors and potentially the Tektite itself. What are we looking at for you this week, Scorpio? Been getting behind a cause of some kind? Working for a campaign, possibly. Not like a presidential campaign, but I feel like they're related to your local elections. And of course, I'm doing this reading like right before the election happens. But I feel like for your local elections, it's possible that you have been working on a campaign for a local official. And they like your work so much that if they get elected and put into office, they may, hold on to your phone number, and that could be beneficial to you down the road. Or it could be that finally this person gets elected that you're able to work with. And, like, for example, now, my dad's a Capricorn, he's not a Scorpio. But he goes to a lot of city council meetings, and he got sidewalks put in between my parents' house and this shopping center that's about a mile or so away. That's a lot of sidewalk, but it's been very beneficial to them to be able to walk up there. And I feel like it's going to be something like that. Which is interesting because Scorpio can be more community-minded like that, but I don't feel like it's necessarily the norm for Scorpios to be like that. There's so much, like, regenerative type energy floating around Scorpios, and like this kind of definitely other people's resources. So it does factor in there. But I feel like the reason that you have been involved in this, whatever it is not necessarily because it benefits you directly. I feel like this is something that benefits others that you care about a lot, or something to that degree, but it's not something that benefits you directly. So it's been a very magnanimous measure for you to be taking part in. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing things for other people every once in a while. It could be that this person is someone that you've worked with. It could be that this person is someone well, obviously you believe in them quite a lot, but it could be like a childhood friend, or the parent of a childhood friend, something like that. And that's why. And if it's not directly related to politics like that, it could be something similar, where somebody who has taken care of you in the past. That's another thing that I'm kind of getting from this situation, is if it's not directly related to like this political affiliation, it could be that somebody who has been beneficial toward you in the past is going to come back around again, needing a favor, and you're going to be more than happy to assist them with whatever it is that they require. You're going to be more than happy to help them out, and you're going to have the resources available to do that. Now, for some of you, there's something coming through this week. Like I see, it could be a paycheck, but this is like it's one of those checks that you get in the mail and you have to rip the sides off. So I'm seeing something like that coming through for you this week. Could be getting dividends paid on an account. It could be, it's some kind of like, it could be a class action lawsuit settlement. Sometimes checks like that come through in the mail and they look like that. It could be like you bought a car and you overpaid and you got this amount back again. Something like that. It's going to be something of that degree where you get one of those checks with the sides that rip off. What else do I need to tell Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising for this week? Get better at cleaning your toenails. Yuck, I'm sorry. That's a very crude sentiment. But it could be that there's some kind of hygiene matter that you ignore. And maybe it's your toenails, maybe it's the floorboards of your car. Something like that need to be vacuumed or cleaned. And I think that's it for you, Scorpio, for this week. Best of luck. Hi, Sagittarius. So, there's really not any direct ephemera for you this week. Just a few things that might be worth noting. The moon is going to start out in Gemini on Wednesday the 4th. And we'll be traveling into Libra by, Wednesday the 11th. Mars is going to be going direct on Friday the 13th, which is a little bit outside of the window that we'll be looking at today. But Chiron and Mars are both in Aries right now. There's still that series of placements, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn still in Capricorn. Mercury is going to be entering Scorpio, and it is direct now during this week. It'll be going direct on Tuesday. And Sun in Scorpio. Opportune period on Sunday the 8th, starting around 5:45 or 8:45 in the morning if you're in the United States and on one of the coasts. And that's going to go through until 3 or 6 in the morning on Monday the 9th. And that opportune period is going to be good for socializing or closing a deal. You're also going to have an opportune period starting around 2 or 5 in the afternoon of Tuesday the 10th until 3 or 6 in the morning on Wednesday. And yeah, I think that's all of the main things to look at. Nothing really dealing specifically with Sagittarius, so if you have other placements, you might want to check those as well. We are coming up quickly. Sagittarius season is approaching, but not yet. And we will have a Friday the 13th next week, so I don't know how many of you get excited about that sort of thing. This week I'm using Lodestone Oil, which is typically used for money drawing, but this time I'm using it for scrying because of the high iron content in tektites and meteorites. So that'll be it's been working very well for that so far. Put a little bit on my forehead and rub it in. What are we looking at for you this week? Sagittarius. Sagittarius and Aquarius. Maybe some of you have Aquarius placements as well. This is, though, for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Please be on your best behavior. I don't know who that's directed at. Sagittarius being a mutable fire energy, and then Aquarius being fixed air energy. It's a very interesting combination. And I can't imagine why you would have to be on your best behavior. But that's going to be, it seems like a pretty specific message. That's somebody who's got, a lot of Sagittarius and Aquarius major placement energy in their chart. I hear somebody like one of those county fair or carnival type. We've got this. We've got shows that'll blow your mind. We've got a guy who shoots Twizzlers out of his nostrils. Something like that. We've got blah blah blah. We've got blah blah blah. We've got all these things. Wonderment and delight at your fingertips. Things to behold. Come check out the sideshow. What is that in relation to for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and being on your best behavior? So, the ringmaster. Is that what they call it? The circus. The guy who's in charge of the whole circus. I feel like that's going to be you this week, Sagittarius. I need to look this word up. I'm sorry. I need to see what this word is. I think it is ringmaster. Yeah. Sometimes called the ringleader, but because that area being the ring, the main arena of the circus. And then some circuses have multiple rings, but I feel like you just got the one ring circus that you're in charge of right now. But because the responsibilities of the ringmaster of the circus are myriad, but boil down to being twofold, alright? The first thing you have to do is make sure that all of the performers for the circus are doing what they are supposed to be doing. And the implication being that because it's a circus, it's a little bit chaotic, right? And then the second responsibility of the ringmaster is to drum up service, to drum up customers for the circus. So you have to be the one out there promoting, and I'm sure that you have a team for this, but you know, like the ringmaster pretty much runs the circus. So you also have to be making sure that enough money is coming in from paying customers that you're going to be able to pay all of your performers something approximating a living wage, if you're able to. And what's been happening recently is that you've been kind of on this upswing as far as bringing in new customers and having your performers turning over these new ideas, bringing in new entertainment ideas, which can be a little chaotic. And I feel like underneath all of this, there's kind of this bubbling chaos. But for a mutable fire sign, that's a good environment for you. That's kind of a place where you thrive and do well. Although I am really strongly getting like Aquarius energy coming in with this as well. So either you have Aquarius placements in your chart, or it's possible that you have someone around you who has strong Aquarius placements and is helping you out with this. And can kind of keep a directionality, a linearity to well, I am hearing 3-ring circus, so more than one ring circus. But people are starting to show up for this. And it's definitely an energy of being on the uptick. This could even be like a Twitch stream or something entertainment related that you're doing for some of you. I mean, it could be a YouTube channel, but more than a YouTube channel, I'm getting Twitch streaming and possibly Zoom live streams. But kind of like the idea of having it be more like sideshow or circus type energy to where there's like all these marvels to behold rather than like just your run-of-the-mill. That's kind of like the theme of your live stream. That's not going to be true for everyone. For some of you, it's going to be more like the three-ring circus of your daily life and the people who help you get through that, and the amount of responsibility. I feel like in a lot of ways you have plugged yourself into a situation where you've become a conduit for activity for the people around you. And that could be like you are mediating between like a group of customers or clients or patients or something, and then the management and the people over here. So it could be that kind of a deal as well. And I do feel like if that's the case, maybe there's an Aquarius around you, maybe not. What else do I need to tell Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about November 4th through November 11th? They've got a bead on you. Somebody has like a laser sight directly aimed at your head. And I don't mean that in a bad sense. I'm gonna take you out. But I'm not getting like, how to describe this? It's a very aggressive energy, but it's not a negative energy necessarily. It's like a really positive thing. Like finger guns almost. I got a laser sight on my finger guns pointed in your direction. It just made me think of Apollonia 6. I don't know how many of you enjoy the movie Purple Rain. I don't want to get too sidetracked here. But yeah, somebody's got you in their sights. And I don't think it's necessarily, it could be a romantic situation. But it could also be like this person really wants to work with you. They've seen how good you are with handling all of these kind of semi-chaotic situations, and they really want to bring you in on a project where you'll be able to thrive and do really well together. What else do I need to tell Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about the week ahead, November 4th through November 11th? I think that's it, actually. I think that's it for you for this week, Sagittarius. Good luck. Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to your week ahead for November 4th through November the 11th. The main thing going on for your transits this week is going to be a continuation of what we have been talking about for a while now, which is Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn all being in your sign, all being direct now. So transits that you're going to be passing through, there's going to be on Wednesday the 4th a quincunx with the moon in Gemini. So related to that situation, which is wealth and expansion, nebulization, and then concretion, all probably in the realm of career or long-term financial gain. Moon in Gemini is emotional or hidden communication. So this could be about truths coming to light. This could be new information. It could be emotionally charged information. We have then on Friday the 6th, oppositions with the moon in Cancer. And the moon in Cancer is this very emotional energy. Moon being native to Cancer, so it just amplifies all of that. And the culmination of that is going to be that the moon in Cancer is going to be in opposition to Saturn in Capricorn, which is Saturn's native is Capricorn. So the cold and logical opposed to the purely emotional. That's going to occur around 5 or 8 p.m. on Friday the 6th, depending on if you live in the United States and if you are on one of the coasts. Those would be the time frames. Just kind of to give you an idea of when this will be happening, because I do realize not everybody who watches my channel lives in the United States, and not all of you are on one of the coasts either. So it's just kind of a general, keep that in mind, time frame. The next transit you're going to be looking at is that the moon is going to be in Leo. Now, Leo is a very creative energy, and the moon and Leo is like art and music and possibly romantic energies as well. And quincunx is a fast-moving and action-oriented transit. And so you've got then those placements moving through that moon in Leo on Sunday the 8th. And that could be a jump start of a new project at a current business that is creatively driven. And then the next thing that's going to be happening is trines with the moon in Virgo and those 3 placements. And the moon in Virgo, if you have this new kind of spark, then this is going to be integrating that into your processes. And that moon in Virgo is hidden or emotional things related to daily routines and possibly also to your health. So it could be, because it's trine energy, it could be figuring out a new health insurance plan through your place of work as well. Sorry, I have the itchiest nose today, just right here on the tip of my nose. All right, Capricorn. So I've chosen to use this Lodestone Oil, which is primarily a drawing oil for money, but because of the iron content of meteors and tektites, I have chosen to use it this week. And Capricorn, what is coming through for you at this time? A lot of you are looking forward to 2021. A lot of you are starting to think about your birthdays right about now. But primarily thinking about 2021 and what that's going to bring. And I don't want you to ignore the rest of 2020, because you're going to have some eclipses occurring actually. In your sign. Let's see. I think maybe it's up here. Yeah. So there's going to be Okay. There's going to be a couple of eclipses toward the end of the year. And I don't know if they affect you directly. We've got a lunar eclipse November 30th in Gemini and a solar eclipse in Sagittarius December 14th. There's just a lot left out of this year, and that transit for you, I feel like, has been maybe a bit too much of a roller coaster. And so some of you are sick of it and you're just like, I am so ready for this series of planets to be out of my sign. Some of you, that's going to be the opposite. Some of you are going to be like, man, this series of transits has just like completely, the retrogrades in my sign have completely transformed the way that I do things. And I'm so glad to be on the other side of that now and looking forward to the future for that reason. So, you know, there's just a few different things that could be going on for you. Because again, these are general readings. It's all going to be different. And people are watching what you're doing more than they're paying attention to you. So you can kind of do this thing where you wind up the teeth. You can just wind the teeth up and send them out on the floor, and people will go chasing after that and won't be getting too involved in your affairs. That's one thing I'm seeing. But there are other people who are very close to you during this time. And you've been, there's a consolidation of your emotional energy that has been occurring, I think, throughout the year, but also specifically in this time. And this week is going to be kind of like a culmination of that, so that all of the energy is related to, because, you know, again, in relation to all these moon transits, like that threefold cycle of planets will have cycled through several of these moon transits already. And every time that happens, there's a refining of that energy, and then other things get worked out. And so every time it passes through that energy, more and more of the rough edges get sanded down. And so then the idea or the particular outcome is getting more and more refined. And let me see. I feel like this is specific to this particular period of time. Yeah. So, we're looking here at, oh, this just goes through December. And, okay. Okay, here we go. Jupiter is going to be the first of these planets. No. Saturn is going to be the first of the planets to enter into Aquarius. And that's going to happen the 18th of December. And then the 20th of December is when Jupiter is going to be entering Aquarius. So these planetary energies toward the end of the year are going to be leaving your sign, and I think you're really looking forward to that. Yeah. And then Mercury will be entering your sign like the day after Jupiter leaves your sign. Mercury is going to be coming in. So that'll be more like a quick moving energy. These have all been very slow, very methodical type energies because they're these outer planets. So Pluto is a long-term transformation, but Mercury is a quick-moving transformation and has to do with communication and other things like that. So that will be the switching over of that cycle. But that, of course, will not be happening until later in the year. But you know, hold up, not just yet. It's not 2021 just yet. There's still plenty of exciting things for you to do this year. And that's kind of the energy that I'm getting for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, is just that there's kind of like a readiness to move on to the future. And so that is coming in, but don't be too hasty about it, because things will happen in their due time. And Capricorn is not a very impatient sign, but I am sensing an impatience about something to do with the end of the year coming through and the beginning of 2021. There's people here who have gotten way under your skin, and you're just a purge of social media, possibly. Could also be something that's going on, and then making sure that you are staying in touch with, yeah, I mean, that all kind of fits in with this consolidation of your social circles. That's really like the key to this week, is just the consolidation of the social circles. Is there anything else that I need to tell Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising about this next week? I think that's it. Just, hold on to your patience, and good luck. Hello, Aquarius. So, there's actually not too much specific ephemera related to you this week. Some things that you might like to know about for the week of November 4th through the 11th is that Mercury is going direct on Tuesday the 3rd. So it'll be direct, but then won't be out of its storm until Sunday the 8th. So that's still going to be influencing some of the things going on this week. The moon is going to be in Gemini on Wednesday, and then by Wednesday the 11th, it will be in Libra. And there are a couple of opportune periods. One of them is going to be Sunday the 8th. It's going to start at around 5:45 in the morning or 8:45 in the morning. That's going to be when the moon in Leo squares the sun. And those times are for the United States, where I live. And that is going to be until the moon is void of course on Monday. And that's either going to be around 3 or 6 in the morning. And then there's another opportune period on Tuesday the 10th. And that is going to start. The moon in Virgo is going to sextile the sun in Scorpio, and that's going to be in the afternoon. And that'll be until the moon is void of course on Wednesday morning, very early, either 3 or 6 a.m. All right. Gosh, I just have the itchiest nose right at the very end. Don't know what that's about. Wonder if that means something. Probably just means that my skin is irritated there. Probably doesn't have any deeper meaning. Gosh, I'm sorry. This week I have chosen to use Lodestone Oil, even though Lodestone Oil is typically used for drawing money, because tektites and meteorites tend to contain a lot of iron. I have chosen to use it for scrying this week. Aquarius. Aquarius energy was coming up quite a bit in the Sagittarius reading, so if you have Sagittarius in your chart, or if you have a Sagittarius acquaintance, you may wish to cross-watch about your Sagittarius acquaintance. But this is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. This is part of the reading. You're going to get to scratch an itch, or you're going to find somebody who scratches an itch for you. And I'm not just saying that because my nose is itchy. I'm saying that because I feel it. Go through all my signs of clarity. Yeah, somebody is going to help you with a situation that is going to resolve in a satisfactory way for you. Scratching that itch. So that is going to be for this week. It could be somebody you already know, but it could be somebody coming in and it's somebody that you meet this week. And they could be a Sagittarius. It could be that the two of you meet up and you start on this venture. Or it could be somebody you already know who's a Sagittarius. Or maybe they're not a Sagittarius at all. It's just, it's going to be different for all of you, right? But definitely that energy there of a completion coming in the hands of another. What else do I need to tell Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about this week ahead? There are people around you that may be providing you with a gift. There's something coming in as a gift, and maybe an early Christmas present, or could have to do with if you're an Aquarius and you are pregnant, it could be like baby shower gifts coming in for you, or the resolution to a problem could come in the form of a gift. I'm really getting a lot about a resolution to some kind of problem that you've been having. And I don't know why that's coming through so strong. What else do I need to tell Aquarius about this resolving? It's like a concretion of events that maybe there was something that was really up in the air for you. And finally, after what could have been months, or most of this year even, you're going to get a satisfactory resolution to something. And people haven't been necessarily forthcoming up until this point with assistance, aid for you or some kind of help that you've needed. And finally, it's going to be like, it's going to be like a drought and then the rain. And then finally, you're going to get all the support that you need. Starting this week, you're going to see that coming in. People don't harbor ill will or grudges towards you. That's not what this is about. It's about, I think, just about other people having been wrapped up in their own affairs until now. And so finally, people have resources freed up that they can dedicate to whatever you have going on. Sorry, there's just like a bunch of garbled he's not interested in he's not interested in this, he's interested in that. I get that there's like some kind of pivot here. He's not interested in this part of it, he's interested in this part over here. And I don't know why I'm getting it so gender specific coming through. But it's related to a conquest. He's not interested in the long term, maybe. He's just interested in the conquest. So that could be for some of you Aquariuses as well. That there's somebody who just wants to notch their belt and isn't really in it for the long haul. So pay attention to that. I think that's separate from this other situation. And then when I was seeing that, I felt like my head was getting pushed underwater and that I was in a swimming pool or the ocean. And I don't know if this is... I mean, that's definitely giving off serial killer vibes, right? But I don't think it's necessarily that. It could also be some kind of baptismal rite. Because it could be not to do with relationships at all. This could be somebody who's like a spiritual advisor to you, or some kind of mentor even. But somebody who is not concerned with the welfare of each individual person that they're mentoring. They're more interested in having the prestige of being a mentor and not as committed to the tutelage aspects. And so this person's going to be very eager to get you inducted into their cult, so to speak, and that baptism. But you're going to then end up possibly taking water into your lungs. I'm not going to say drowning, because you're not going to perish as a result of this, but they're not going to care whether or not you get water in your lungs as a result. So if this is a spiritual advisor, I urge you not to overcommit to this person. If they're asking you for a greater commitment than what you feel comfortable with, it's okay to pull out and to find someone else to be a mentor to you. Someone who's more committed to you, because it should be a two-way street. It should be like commitment from both sides and not just a one-way street where you're giving your energy to this guru. Yeah, because I am getting like, not so much that this person is holding you underwater to the point that you drown, but holding you underwater long enough that you take water into your lungs, and you very well could drown as a result, because this person's interest in you is purely superficial and selfish. Is there anything else that I need to tell Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising about for the week of November 4th through the 11th? I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me, and good luck. All right, Pisces, how have you been? Let's talk about the week ahead. This is going to be for, November the 4th through the 11th. And the main thing that we're going to be looking at is that Neptune is currently in your sign, which Neptune is native to Pisces. It's very watery, kind of like Moon in Cancer is here, and then Neptune in Pisces is the next octave up from that. So that's the kind of energy that we're talking about. Kind of emotional, but also having transcended the need for feelings. And so I brought up Moon in Cancer for a reason, which is that on Friday the 6th, Neptune in Pisces is going to be trine the Moon in Cancer. That's a very watery, emotional, very like, I keep wanting to say transitional, but that's not quite it. It's like a anything is possible kind of an energy. And that's going to occur either at 1 or 4 in the morning, depending on if you're in the United States, if you live on one of the coasts. Because I realize that I can give you these times, but for a lot of you it's just going to be very relative because you don't live in the United States. The next Neptune in Pisces transit we're looking at is Sunday the 8th, and that is going to be a quincunx between the Moon in Leo and Neptune in Pisces. So that's going to be kind of in the middle of the morning, actually. And Neptune in Pisces being this very flexible energy, and Moon in Leo is a super creative energy. So if you're an artist or a musician or something like that, that's a very good energy for you. Next, we have a trine between Sun in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces, and that's going to occur either late Monday night or early Tuesday morning, again, depending on if you're on one of the U.S. coasts. And so Sun in Scorpio is also water energy and has to do with death, sex, and other people's resources. It can also be a transitional energy. So this being a very flexible time for things like that, possibly related to estates, or it could even be related to a hookup. And then Tuesday, there's an opposition between the Moon in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces. That's going to be in the early afternoon. And that Moon in Virgo energy, Virgo's very structured. It's all about daily routines and your health. So that opposition, that's like emotional or hidden things related to daily routines and health. in opposition to Neptune in Pisces. And that could be, you know, a health scare. That could be juggling too many things and something falls by the wayside. Any kind of stuff like that. And then finally on Wednesday, the 11th, there's going to be a quincunx that occurs actually between Venus in Libra and Neptune in Pisces. And this could be, for some of you, the start of a new relationship. And that's going to be in the middle of the afternoon or the early evening, depending on where you live. All right, Pisces. So this week I am using this Lodestone Oil. And Lodestone Oil is typically used for drawing money. But because of the iron content of tektites and meteorites, I decided to use it for scrying this week. And dab a little bit of it here on the meteorite tektite. Tektites aren't necessarily meteorites, but they are impactites and can be caused by meteorites. And put a little bit in the middle of my forehead as well. Pisces. The vices of Pisces coming to the surface. This Neptune and Pisces energy has been very deep water, trying to bury things in a deep watery grave, and these vices are starting to get bloated and float up to the surface. You didn't tie enough concrete blocks to their ankles, apparently. So for some of you, there's going to be a situation that crops up this week where either you get too drunk to go to work, like it's a situation where you're drinking on a Sunday night and you look over at the clock and all of a sudden it's 5 a.m. and you have to go to work. That's going to happen to some of you. And I'm not saying that you have a problem. I don't think it's not like that. It's not like you've been drunk at work the whole time. It's going to be one of those situations where something catches up to you way too fast. And it has the potential to cause you embarrassment. But for some of you, this is a wake-up call. Others of you might not have the same reaction to that, to where you're like, this was a one-time deal. I'm not going to be letting that get between me and my dreams anymore. But for some of you, this is going to be a wake-up call to some nasty habits that you've been developing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be related to alcohol. It could be maybe for some of you, you're juggling 2 romantic partners who have no idea that the other is in the picture. And something happens where you call one of them the other person's name, or you get dates mixed up. Like you had a date with one person and you think it's with the other person. Something like that. Could also be to do with finances. Like you think you have a certain amount of money in your account, and then you go to pay bills or buy something, and it turns out that you are overdrawn on your account. That's another thing that I'm getting coming through. But for all of you, this is just going to be kind of like a wake-up call of things have been getting out of hand. And I think some of you, because of whatever happens, are going to change your tune dramatically. I do want to see this Neptune in Pisces. Has been in your sign for a long time. Yeah, Neptune is going to be in Pisces for the rest of this year. And Ceres is going to be entering Pisces on the 10th. So that'll be this week. Is that important? Yeah. Why is Ceres important? Let's see. Let me look into this a little bit. Ceres is an asteroid. It is between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. 25th largest body in the solar system within the orbit of Neptune. It's the only dwarf planet inside Neptune's orbit. I think the other one must be Pluto or something. May have a water vapor plume, may harbor a subsurface ocean. It's round. Very watery energy, then. It doesn't have its own orbit. It shares its orbit with other asteroids. It's geologically alive. Let's see. Ice volcanoes and surviving pockets of an ancient ocean. So, very salty water on the surface of Ceres. Must be very cold for any kind of salt water to have frozen. Yeah, this ice-cold cryovolcanism. So I'm on the National Geographic website actually here. Is creating this geologic activity. Okay, I think that's what I needed to find out about. So, let's talk about ice volcanoes for a minute. It's not the kind of heated passion that explodes like a Knight of Wands kind of energy. It's more like that Knight of Cups energy, probably. Or even a Knight of Swords energy. It's not the kind of volcanic or seismic activity related to fire, but it can be equally as devastating. So even if you are not acting out of emotional turmoil, you could be unintentionally or intentionally doing things to other people that are just as devastating. I know that this is something that has come up for me recently, of the casual, offhanded comments that you make to people. And I feel like it's a little bit further than that, but I feel like there's somebody that you just... I get the sense that it's like this merciless teasing, and it's not that you mean it in a cruel way, but I feel like it's emotionally devastating to this other person, possibly. Or that there's some kind of emotional rapport between you and another person where your emotional, I'm hearing frigidity, but it's not quite that. Your emotional indifference is not quite frigidity, but I'm getting the word frigidity mixed in there as well. And so there's a case where because of what you're putting into the situation, this other person is experiencing some kind of emotional devastation as a result. But I don't get that this is related to the other situation with the wake-up call. It could be for some of you, but it's not across the board related for everyone. What else do I need to tell Pisces about this week, November 4th through the 11th? He's giving you a great deal more to go on. Okay, so there's going to be a situation for some of you where there's going to be a work supervisor or somebody that you work for. And because of a shift in your work dynamic, they're going to start providing you with more resources to get your job done. So if there's some kind of area in your job where you feel like you've been kind of wandering around in a dark closet, bumping into things and knocking them over, if you have felt like that about some aspect of your job up until this point, somebody's going to come in and change the light bulb for you. Is there anything else that I need to talk to Pisces about this week, November 4th through the 11th? Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You're good to go. Good luck. Thank you so much for joining me today for your crystal scrying forecasts for the week of November 4th through the 11th. If you are a Scorpio who is experiencing a birthday this week, I would like to wish you a very happy birthday. This, of course, includes my ex-husband. Still a very good friend. And I hope that everyone has a great week. It does look very good for most of you. All of you, really. But, anything could happen, of course. This is just for fun and games. I hope also that if you're getting ready to go to sleep, you have a good night. As for myself, I'm going to be getting back into some very exciting ancient tomes. Please do like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Don't forget about the giveaway, that the details will be in the description there, and a link to a Google form so you don't have to put your personal information in the comments. And I hope to see you again.